Time being 9 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any corrections or additions to add to the agenda? Do we have
Move to
any-
approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? We have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Carol Lapham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've all received the May financial run, which is, I don't remember my password. Which really shows that we are waiting for our tax money to come in, and that will be journal entry in June. You know, we're within our budget amounts. I guess I'd probably like to see the expenditures a little less because we are operating on a budget deficit, which we will not be able to make up the entire year, but hopefully we have some that come in lower. Capital expenditures, I think a few items have come lower than what was budgeted, so it should be.
And June is when we get our tax money,
Right.
usually. Okay.
June is when we'll apply that. And then in June, you'll also receive each department's line by line, so you can take a look at, you know, more items or areas where we may need to do some adjusting, budget adjusting. There is the one item for the, what is it, the microwave, moving the tower. The board approved doing the project, and it actually totals $55,409.21, and indicated maybe that it was going to come out of the commissioner's budget. I looked through the minutes and it doesn't say specifically where it was going to come out of, but that we were going to do the project. So,
I thought it was out of law enforcement.
I guess I
But-
wasn't here for the discussion, but we did have to pay that bill
Right.
because we have to get the check back. I mean, we just got the invoice on the 9th. We had to get the check to them. It has to come back through the bank so that we can send a copy of the canceled check in order to apply for the grant.
And I was moving to the water tower, is that right?
Right,
Okay.
right. So.
It seems to me there was going to be, I thought there was going to be some budget amendments within the sheriff's office, I thought, but,
Okay, well, maybe
Don't-
I'll actually.
yeah.
Plus,
go
now
back.
they'll apply for the grant, right?
Right, but
Okay.
it's still just a 50-50
Yes.
percent, so the other amount will get,
We could see if Travis remembers.
well, they just said they didn't think it was coming out of the sheriff's budget.
Oh, really?
I didn't think it was.
We're talking about
It is
the
not.
Ancon,
well, now it is.
the microwave. Do you remember where they indicated it would come out of? Or- Because then when we were talking about the upgrading the EOC, Justin had mentioned that the commissioners, you know, that line item was probably stretched because of this project. So
Right.
then I'm thinking,
Well, I think that's where the conversation, it just kind of, it ended, is, if I remember right, the conversation, because we talked about the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department kind of said, well, I don't, this, and I'm paraphrasing if I'm wrong, correct me, but the sheriff's office kind of said, well, I don't think it should be 100% of the sheriff's department because it's used for other things as well. So the talk was taking out of the commissioner's fund.
okay.
And then I said, well, how much is in the commissioner's fund? We didn't really know, and then we said, well, we got to be careful because we had the other project that was going to be utilizing it. And then the conversation kind of just ended, and then we voted. So I don't think it was ever really resolved.
And we were gonna look into using E911 funds, and that's not a possibility
Okay.
for that. It's not an eligible item.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so, and I was just telling them that we had to pay the bill, but, you know, wanting to know so that we can make a budget amendment so that your department, you know.
Yes, yes.
And hopefully we'll get the grant.
Yeah, we will. I have to have everything submitted by Wednesday, so I got a lot of work.
Can I check and-
Check that. Okay. We'll do that later. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks.
So probably on the 28th, we'll have some budget amendments to approve. We have this item, highway has just a small one. But then we also do need to make adjustments to our salary budgets for the additional staff that we approve, so that when we start budgeting for this next year, we
Mhm.
have the comparisons that we need.
Sounds good.
Any questions on any of the numbers?
No?
No, I appreciate seeing it ahead of time. That helps a lot too.
Yeah,
Thanks, Carol.
thank you. Sorry, I didn't know
Morning.
which hat you were wearing. I had to look at the agenda before I could.
Oh, yeah, I think it's me then.
No, I know it's you, but I didn't know which thing you were coming for.
I just have one short item this morning. This is just,
1 second first, because I didn't say who you were. Director of Public Health, Mary Marshall.
I just have the board ratification statement that I need, signature, authorization of signature on. This is for our agreement that we have with MCCC for our public health software. This includes all the software that we use day to day and we have for years with regards to our client files, our time studies for nurse dailies, and our billing. So this is an agreement actually that goes to Rochester and then up to the MCCC. We budget about $20,000 a year for this. It's hard to give you an exact amount because if there's upgrades, that kind of thing to the software, then we pay additionally for that. Apparently this is the same MCCC software that the agency has used for years. It's nothing new or different. It's just simply for maintenance and support.
Do we have a motion to approve the contract?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with MCCC.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is working out real well, though, this contract with them, isn't
Oh,
it?
it is, yeah.
Compared to what we had before.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it works out really well. It's very streamlined and it's been a long-standing agreement. You know, I used it in my former life in Beltrami and it really works well. It's
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming in.
you get a signature to the agreement.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. You bet.
Electronic or
Electronic would be fine.
There you go. Okay, the next one is Dana and I printed out the, okay.
Go ahead.
We're gonna be discussing on behalf of
Represent.
EDA, the loan for Mel Chiropractic. I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on the loan. Over the past several months, the Mels of Mel Chiropractic in Caledonia have been in contact with the Houston County EDA about their plans to purchase a building for their business. The business has grown substantially, and there's a need for them to have more space. To meet current patient needs and build capacity for its long-term sustainability, Mel Chiropractic has signed a purchase agreement for a building located at 126 West Main Street in downtown Caledonia. The building, which is the former veterinary clinic in Caledonia, will be completely remodeled with 2 patient rooms and an x-ray room. The space they currently lease only has 1 patient room, so the expansion will help them serve more patients and expand their treatment services. They requested a $30,000 loan from the EDA, and the cost of the project is $169,000. They went to the City of Caledonia, and City of Caledonia doesn't have any funds, and they recommended that they come to the county EDA. At the county EDA meeting on June 1st, we passed a motion to recommend to the board that $17,000 be lent. we have a policy on our board that limits loan amounts to 10% of the project cost. So 10% is 17,000. And then if the cost goes down, they don't get 17,000, they get 10% of what.
It's readjusted.
Right. So we unanimously passed a recommendation that the board approve this loan of 17,000. So we need a motion to give the county's revolving loan fund out of the county's revolving loan fund 17,000, or whichever is the lowest amount.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we have a few minutes. Let's move down the agenda. And the consent agenda, would anyone like to make a motion to have those items placed on file?
I'll make a motion to place the consent agenda on file.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to the Claims, Human Services, and License Center disbursements. Everyone has had a chance to look over them. Do we have a motion to approve them?
There was one change of $1 added, so.
$64.66.
Okay.
Yep.
Approved with that change.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we need to authorize the court administrator to advertise for RFPs for court-appointed attorney. This is something that's done every year. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
What's an RFP?
Request for proposal.
Request for proposal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last week, we put off the discussion on the county auction. Does anyone have any input that they'd like to give back on it now? Do you think that we should still have the county auction at the fair, along with the fair? Or should we do it differently this year?
Well, in one respect, it's kind of a tradition with the fair. But on the other hand, you know, it would be kind of nice to maybe try the electronic.
What
Auction?
I would like,
Mhm.
what I was thinking about is I think this year, because of the time, the amount of time, if we're going to do it, we need to advertise it. And I think that we need to really do more research before we can put the stuff online and let people know that that's an option we're looking at.
Okay.
Because if we put out just for the county auction, I think we need to follow through with that. And if we're going to do county auction or online, when we put the information out to the people who would supply things, I think we should have let them know. That's just my
Well,
feeling. but-
literally, I think, you know, if we do the electronic, you know, online, we could be doing that throughout the year. We don't have to wait till any one point in time.
Right.
If something comes up for sale, you can put it online, advertise it.
And we could,
move
and
it.
we have to adopt a policy then that the departments can put things
Mhm.
online to be sold, because we don't have that right now, I don't think, do we?
No.
But I guess I would like to see us try the county, or the online. We've got such a small amount of things this time, most of them are vehicles, and from what I understand, our auction does pretty good on vehicles. I think it'd be a good opportunity with such a small amount of things to try it.
Would we have to put out to the different,
We already have.
no, I mean, if we go online, do we have to do anything, or can we just choose the?
I don't know why we can't just do it.
Just choose the vendor and let them know.
Yeah.
Ours do it
Yeah.
like once a month or something like that, or whatever it is.
Every 2 weeks unless there's a holiday.
There you go.
So we could get rid of things quicker.
Mhm.
Well, and that's something maybe we should look at doing a policy on, and having it continuous throughout the year. If something comes up,
We could.
put it on the
Because there's
next
even
online
like,
auction.
I know that in our IT department, there have been times when it would have been advantageous to sell something on eBay.
Mhm.
You know, and if we establish a policy that they just have to clear it through
Yeah.
us.
Right.
And to be honest, I'd rather see it get taken care of right away than sitting around for a year until the next
Mhm.
auction.
Yeah,
I think Steve's right, just keep it going all the time, you know?
Okay.
Nice.
Something comes up, hold on, get rid of it.
Sounds good.
At least give it a try and see how it goes.
well, should we give this a try and then develop a policy and talk about that
I think
later?
that'd be good.
I would.
See how it goes.
Do we need a motion to,
I would.
okay.
Yeah.
We need a motion then to contact DAR, is that who we're
Is
gonna
that what you wanna
contact?
go with?
And,
It's local, I think.
Yep.
Right.
Most local, I think.
Yeah.
It seems to be competitive.
Last year I contacted a whole bunch of services and checked what they charge, and I think they were one of the most reasonable.
okay,
And
they're
who is it?
Dar.
Auction.
okay, so do we have a motion to go with DAR auction for our county auction this year online?
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So then
Will
do we
this
need
be
to
on our
let?
website then also? That something,
I-
not the auction itself, but the information
I
where
don't
to
know.
go?
Yeah, you'd refer to the DAR
Yeah, we
auction
can
site.
That's
refer
what
to
I
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give 'em a link
Actually,
on it.
once it's posted, there could be a possibility that a direct link could be.
Right.
averaged.
Yep.
There you go. Yep.
Do we want a date that we're gonna go and put this up, or immediately?
How about if
or-
I contact them and see what we'll
When
do
the
for them?
next-
Would that be okay?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
as
because
soon as
sometimes
can
they
do
have
it-
a waiting list.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I will check with them and let you know what I find out.
Okay. And then would you also contact the newspaper that's doing the fair thing, that they're not waiting for our ad?
Yep, I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, and then we have two recount agreements
Mhm.
between SOS and the Houston County Auditor, and that has to do with,
Election.
yeah, it's,
If we have a recount, we will
Recount,
do
okay.
it on behalf of the state locally.
Mhm.
And we've done that in the past
and
many
it,
times.
and the state covers the cost of it?
Correct.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve those two agreements?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner Chomey, would you like to start the,
Oh, Tess is here.
This is here.
oh,
Don't you have them?
I don't have Tess.
Oh, you've got it on agenda.
Oh,
Oh.
I've got her
No,
down.
9:30.
9:30?
9:30, yeah.
Don't you have her?
Okay, no, I don't. Okay,
You've got it right here. 9:30.
You just skipped over.
I skipped over you, I'm sorry. Come forward, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We have one item on our, for staffing for human services. I believe that the original agenda I sent you had 3 items, so please make that adjustment. The only item we have is the recommendation for a change of probationary status from that of probationary to regular for the social services supervisor, Bethany Mullen. Her 1-year probation term will be completed on June 29th, 2016. That would, actually, it's on June 28th at 4:30. Her first day, if you approve it for regular status, would be June 29th, 2016. And I will have the interim chair of the department speak to her successful completion of her probationary term.
Bethany and I met last week and had some great conversation. Director Barr had done some preliminary work with regards to Bethany's performance appraisal. And I just completed that, and of course, my interactions with Bethany have been pretty on the peripheral, but nonetheless, certainly have some pretty awesome impressions of her abilities and her talents. And Director Barr had some pretty wonderful things to say about her as well. And so I would have no issue whatsoever with recommending her to be taken off probationary and made criminal. She's been really a great asset to the department, and other things employees have to say, those that directly report to her have been nothing but stellar. So I think she's been a great addition.
I hear positive things about Supervisor Mullen from multiple directions of various offices she has interactions with and have over the term of her probationary time here.
My impression is she's very professional and very good at her job, so I agree with you.
I'll move to change the status of Bethany Mullen from probation to regular status.
Second?
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I'll deliver the news. Director Mildy is here? Apparently not. So we'll, staffing. As you know, we've had an ongoing search to hire a third IT professional. We held initial interviews of, I believe there was 4 persons, and then we had extended our search efforts and had a subsequent interview as well, and then round 2 interviews on top of that. So we've had a lot of due diligence surrounding this position. The IT market has been rather interesting over time. It used to be a buyer's market for a long time, then it became obviously, if you will, and then it became an employer's market, and now we seem to be back going into the employee market as well. So it's been a tough struggle here, especially as we sat in such close proximity to La Crosse and Rochester. So, but we do have success. The team met, like I said, had a second interview yesterday. We have a candidate who has accepted our offer. The candidate's name that we are recommending to you today is Max Ekobina. That's Ekobena. I have a copy I can give you. He accepted our offer yesterday as the IT support web technician. This is a non-represented position. It is a confidential position. C42, he'll be starting at step 1 at a wage of $21.56 per hour, effective July 5th, 2016, pending, of course, the appropriate background checks, which includes a law enforcement background checks because of the access and the work this person will be doing with the sheriff's office as well. So with that, he has a degree in, comes to us from Gunderson, where he's just completed an extensive internship with them in IT, and he is degreed in MIS, Management Information Systems. And and we're just very pleased that we're able to make this offer at this time and recommendation to the board.
Is there a motion to recommend?
I'll make that a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that is all I have prior to the closed session with the sheriff's office. So, might I have just a moment, please?
Yep, absolutely. Commissioner Chomey, would you want to give your report while we're,
Sure.
okay, thank you.
Last week, I had just one meeting, that was yesterday in Preston for One Watershed, One Plan. We continue to work on getting the plan done, but hopefully by the end of the year. That's our goal. We've submitted the final draft of the Root River One Watershed Plan to the state agency for a 60-day review. They have to look at it in 60 days and send it back. And after that, we will schedule open houses, one on the west side of the watershed, which would probably be Stewartville, and there'll be one here in Caledonia at a site we don't know of yet, so. That's what,
And what month are you looking at, or
September.
September?
If we
Okay.
get the 60-day review back in time. Once we get the 60-day review back from the state, then we have to meet, and if they have any changes, okay that as a group.
Mhm.
And then we'll go out to the public hearing for the public to review. And after that, we should, final signing will be towards the end of the year.
Is there gonna be a cost for the counties then?
Not this time that we know of. There's a lot of discussion about that.
Yeah.
We don't want to have any cost to the counties, and we don't want to have anybody in soil and water lose their job because of one. And it's some really lively discussion going on this. And I think we're getting there. And all of us in agreement, we don't want to have it cost more. We don't want another layer of public government to have to implement. So, working hard on this for you.
Good.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed it.
Good, thank you. Ms. Kruger, do you want us to continue until the sheriff comes over, or?
Chair Storley, we have our closed session set for 10:15.
Mhm.
And I believe the parties will be showing up closer to that time.
Okay,
That's fine.
If everyone gathers at a time sooner than that, I will approach the board.
okay.
Thank you.
And that was the last of the personnel? Or are we
Yes.
going to do that at that time, right before the closed session, the sheriff's office part of your agenda?
At this time, we do not have anything else on the agenda for the sheriff's office.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioner Walter, would you like to?
I had EMS last week up in Rochester, Emergency Medical Services, and they are continuing to look for funding because seatbelt funding is going down because people, which is a good thing, but it does hurt our funding sources. So, and then I had workforce development, and there again, they're really changing some of the focus on career pathways because of so many people going to be retiring, and they need people that know how to do manufacturing businesses and stuff. So we're working on internship programs and encouraging, starting in the high school level up, teaching them how to do welding, electrical, all those kind of careers where the workforce will be retiring, and we're going to lose a lot of expertise there. And then I went to the city of La Crescent last night. They do business very professionally and very well. Meeting was like a half hour. And then I went to the La Crescent Township meeting just to update them with if we had anything going on or they wanted to talk to us about it. So those were my 4 meetings.
Met with Aaron Locker last Tuesday, and we discussed, he's got some proposals going forward to the Planning Commission as far as our ordinances go. A lot of them are small, minute changes, corrections, grammatical errors, wording, things like that. There's a few other things that they're going to be bringing forward for some discussion. One of them is on part of the mining ordinance. They're talking about sizes. They're also talking about as far as non-conforming mines, and just going to have some discussion on how to handle those situations. One of the other discussions that we talked about that may or may not be at the next Planning Commission meeting, but down the pipeline is, and Aaron brought it up last time when he was here with the board, was the splitting of parcels. of properties.
Mhm.
And we talked about how to handle the one per fourth quarter and issues with different building sites. So there's some things that he's looking at, going through, reviewing on the ordinance, and bringing forward to the planning commission to have some lengthy discussion to try and make that document better. We talked about the fact that it's a living document. It's never going to be completed. There's a lot of issues that we probably don't have the resources or the knowledge to handle right now, but we can make some baby steps towards making it better than what it is. So, good conversation, and I'm very thankful that Aaron is willing to take on a task such as big as that one is to try and improve it and make it better. Then I had a meeting with Rick Frank, Environmental Services Director. We had a kind of an overview on one of the old landfill sites. Just met with the state and the landowners to make sure that everything was in compliance and things were on par going forward. There were some issues that needed to be corrected and resolved, that nothing major, but just making sure that everything was going well, and Attorney Sam Yacht was in on that meeting as well. So, but yeah, other than that, that was pretty much it.
I had SIMCAC last night, and in that meeting, we reviewed the 990, federal 590 tax returns, and reviewed our financial statements. We went over, we had a study done with the SIMCAC clinic in Winona, in the city of Winona. It has been losing money. It hasn't been working out as well as anticipated, but a study was done by Winona State University, giving us some ideas of what to do to improve revenues for it. And I think they've got some ideas that will help bring it, at least make breaking even.
What does the clinic do?
Mainly unplanned pregnancy, diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, and things like that. College Town, there's a lot more activity. So in that area, it does get used quite a bit. It's unfortunate, but we don't get a lot of money from insurance in it through that. Head Start is still having some difficulties, and we had to put in an action plan, I guess, to try to revive it or try to do what we can to keep it going. We're submitting an application to Southeastern Minnesota Initiative Foundation for $25,000 to hopefully and put into the Head Start program. Some of the other, let's see, I don't think there were any other grant applications. No, it doesn't look like it. It was just a review. That's what I had.
Okay. And I didn't have any meetings. I just wanted to remind you about the solid waste annual meeting is this Friday at the Cross Solid Waste. If anybody's interested in
Yeah,
going.
that's in the morning, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Usually they send us an agenda to all of us, don't they?
I don't know.
Okay.
Dave Melton's here.
Yep. And that's all. And Mr. Walter, would you like to come forward? Good morning.
See, just a 2-second deal. I just wanted to touch on just a couple things. The conservation tour, 2016. Neat little thing there. Farm Bureau called me up one day, and they were putting a tour on and wanted to do sites to visit on our conservation practices. And I said, well, we do the same thing every year with the commissioners. Can we partner on that? They said, well, absolutely. So they sent out invites. They forgot to put our name on it for sponsors, but that's all right. So if you plan on attending that, real nice agenda on that. A lot of good stops. So if you want to attend that, just RSVP.
And they said even though the date is May, you're supposed to RSVP, they'd really like more commissioners to come.
Right, July 22nd. Yeah, so that would be.
Can we meet up with them in Sodco?
Right.
They're gonna
right,
start in
there's-
Rochester, and I.
Yep, they're gonna pick up some folks in Rochester, and then the first stop will be in Spring Grove there at Sodco.
What time?
10:15, 10 o'clock probably, get there by. And I talked to Cynthia this morning about, because they're gonna end up near Brattsburg, they're just in the Fillmore County. I said, is the bus gonna return to Spring Grove? And she said, yeah, we'll figure that all out. So we can leave vehicles there.
At Sodco.
Howard-
We can
They'll
leave our
bring-
vehicle at
they'll bring it
Sodco.
Yeah, we'll talk to Howard
They'll
about
bring
leaving
back.
They'll bring
vehicles
us
there or
back.
whatever, or we can carpool from here or something.
It's like a real good tour to me.
Yeah,
Actually.
yep,
Mhm.
yep, I think it's gonna be real nice.
I think I'll be there.
Yeah, on our end of the world here, we're gonna do that rain simulator again there at Sadco. Talk about the seed source there in Houston County and take a tour of their facility. And then we're going to head down on some revetment work that our office has been involved with over the last few years. Anchoring cedar trees to the banks of the Riceford Creek, so we can have some sites that we did a few years ago and after that, and then last year, kind of show you the progression of that project. And then also some buffers that were installed many years ago, and then some sites where that they need buffers, and that kind of blends right into the next little update on the buffer initiative that our office is the technical support on throughout the county. I just want to update you a little bit on that. So the DNR just last month put maps together on all the public waters in Houston County, and they wanted us to review the maps to see if they're accurate as far as what the DNR put together. So we had staff working on, here's the DNR map, here's either Bing Map or Google Earth, and just make sure everything lined up, which they did pretty well. We did have a comment period that we gave some questions to and some direction that we needed. They set a meeting up for this month on the 23rd to give the districts good direction on how to direct the land users of Houston County to install these buffers. Seems, at first glance, it seems pretty easy. A minimum of 30-foot buffer, an average of 50, measured from the top of bank. It seems pretty easy, but how do you average? If you have 100 acres of woods on one side, how do you average the rest of it? Does it go by linear feet? Does it go by acres? Just a lot of questions come up. Where's the top of bank? A lot of situations in Houston County where you'll have a stream that has a first bank, and then it'll be flat or a little slope for maybe 10, 12, 40 feet. And then you'll have another bank. Where's the top of the bank? So they'll clear that all up for us, and plus a lot of other concerns. Since the Houston County has no ditching, public ditching, the only ditch is the Root River, and public waters trumps that definition. So everything in Houston County will be, on public waters, will be a minimum of 30, an average of 50. Public waters is any waters greater than 2-mile drainage area. We'll be discussing, we've already started a discussion with the water plan here in Houston County and Crooked Creek watershed on other waters. There's a lot of other waters in Houston County, spring heads, small creeks and streams that have flow year-round that aren't public waters. Do we want to do some sort of buffering on these waters? So there'll be a lot of discussion on that over the next 8 months, 9 months. Buffers at this time need to be installed November 1st, 2017. The start date on that. So here again, I've been partnering up with Environmental Services, Rick Frank, on his role, our role. We're technical support, he's enforcement. Been in contact with Sam on updating the ordinance, putting in some language on if landowners don't comply, what are the steps to get them in compliance, this sort of thing. So, had staff, since the maps have been printed, now we're land truthing and doing some inventory of what's actually on the ground. To our surprise, and I think it will be yours too, 35 different streams that we're inventorying. So far, we have 9 completed, and about a quarter are uncompliant. So three-quarters are in compliance, give or take. So I think landowners are doing a good job. There's some tough areas out there that will get improved, but overall, I think our landowners are pretty good.
So Dave, this will take effect when?
November 1st, 2017.
Okay.
Public waters, yeah.
So-
The ditching folks, they have till 2018, November 1st. But
Okay.
we don't have any ditches unless it's other waters again, because there is some private ditches out there that have water standing in them. You know, your area, Justin, there's no, but we'll
Now-
cross that bridge.
Is there going to be anything as far as what these landowners, that 50-foot area,
Right.
are the landowners responsible for seeding that and establishing it, or is it just kind of just don't do anything with it, let nature do what it needs to do, or how?
Perennial cover, I
Okay.
believe is what the rule states. Trees, shrubs, grasses, alfalfa.
Sure.
It's not public lands. They got full control of it. There's a lot of different alternative practices is going to get answered here in the next few months on what they could be.
Now,
Is there any tax break for the landowner?
See, that's going to have to come down through the state and the assessors on, how they're going to classify those lands.
is
And-
there talk that that portion could get put into like CRP?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it fits the CRP program really well,
Mhm.
riparian areas. There again, they can hay and graze it.
They just don't want it row cropped, is basically right.
Right, annual cover, yeah.
Well, grazing, I think, is involved too, isn't there?
Yep, they can graze it. Another great opportunity here for the DNR fisheries are the easements throughout the county. They're eligible for those easements, and that's a pretty nice incentive payment on that too.
So easements, there's paid back from the government to allow easement for people to get access to the river?
Right, get a per acre, I believe, payment.
Okay.
Much like the RIM easements, and RIM would also be another conservation easement that landowners could put on there. So it'd be a per acre, one-time shot, perpetual easement, say. And so that, if it's on a good fishing stretch or whatever, and it's in the DNR's headlights or whatever of doing that.
Now, last question, and I'm thinking of one landowner in particular, that him and I were discussing this because he was asking this question, when that was going to take place. Can you double up and have it put into CRP and then also get an easement?
Right.
You know?
Great question. I believe, that'd be like an easement for, say, like the DNR fisheries.
Right.
That's completely in their ball field. I believe you can, Justin. I'm not 100% on that.
Right.
But that's a great question. As far as other conservation easements, we look at it as a resource concern. What is that resource concern? It could be, filtering or buffering or whatever.
Mhm.
So if we have it in a state easement
Yep.
already, and then they go to a federal easement program, they said, well, what's the resource concern? There is none. Therefore, it doesn't qualify.
Okay, gotcha.
But DNR Fisheries is different because they're for the fish habitat and that fishing easement. And then at that time it becomes public, fishing access. But, only fishing, no hiking or camping or anything like that.
Because I know they're right on a highway, right on 76 there.
Okay.
So it'd be but then I was like, I don't know if you could double up on government programs like that. If you had it in CRP, but then you're going to double up and also get an easement, if that's allowed or not.
Right. And that's a great question. I believe DNR will let you, if it's state and federal conservation programs, probably not.
Okay.
Just because the resource concern need isn't there and
Sure.
it doesn't make it eligible. Now, another great question is, let's say you go CRP.
Yep.
And that's for 10 or 15 years. Once that expires, now can you put an easement on top of, to replace that?
Sure.
Because you're not qualified for CRP anymore
Right.
because the CRP rules are, you gotta have a buffer there.
Right.
At that time, I'm thinking you can throw another easement on top of that to make it perpetual or
Okay.
15 years, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, there's a lot of good scenarios. Like you say, at the beginning, it seems pretty easy, but then you got all these different questions and, it's not one size fits all.
Well, at least the farmers don't feel like, hey, I'm giving up how many acres and I'm not getting anything out of it. At least there's an opportunity to get
Yeah,
money.
we'll be hearing quite a bit of that, we already have, but there again, there's the technical support, and we have our programs that we can offer, and they're the decision maker. They can do what they feel is right, so.
I know there was some concern with the counties as far as the enforcement of it, that there's a grant program, that if you take the grant, then the county has to enforce it, and if you don't, Bowser will do the enforcing?
You're right, and I'm gonna find a little bit more on that on the 23rd. I heard that just maybe 10 days ago,
Mhm.
and I took it as really excellent news because this, you're again, nothing in stone, but I heard that the House and Senate passed a bill to send $10 million to the county. And there's equations on each county, how they're gonna get their funding, a minimum 45,000, a maximum 200,000 for technical enforcement and install of these buffers. And I already talked to Rick about it, that he'd take the enforcement portion, we take the install. They're gonna give it to us one lump sum, but Rick and I would work on, you guys get this much, we get this much. I took it as finally getting paid back for work that we're doing, and compensated for the first time in a long time for the work that the state tells us to do. So I took it as really good news. Of course, it's up to you folks on if you want to accept that money. If you don't accept it, is Bowser going to do the enforcement? Is DNR going to do the enforcement? Or are they going to make you do it anyways?
Yeah.
Through my office, we have a lot of resources available to us as far as partners go. MPCA, EPA, Army Corps, DNR. I've always looked at it as let my office take care of it. I don't need somebody coming down from the state and bothering our landowners.
And will they really do it? Yeah.
Right, and ruffling a bunch of feathers. I always like to say, let us take care of it. We know our landowners, we deal with them all the time. We got good rapport with them, and we understand how they're feeling. You get someone from the state coming down telling us what to do, and it's kind of standoffish. They talk to them for an hour or two, they're gone. We see you folks in the grocery stores and at the cafes and out on the street, and we understand each other, so I like.
I think their concern with, some of the county's concern was it's a one-time grant, and if you hire staff, then you have to do this.
Right, I'm not putting any staff on. How can you put staff on, train them to do something like
Yeah.
this, and then the next, depending on how much money there is, in 6 or 8 months, you're laying people off. It's
Yeah.
not fair to anybody at that
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna hire any staff. We're just gonna do it in-house.
Okay.
With employees.
And then work with Rick's office.
Right. Yep. Yep, and we have other partners in the office too that can put seeding plans together
Okay.
and find the seed source on what they want and how many pounds, if there's fertilizer involved, and all this too. So we got good.
And they don't think Houston County has ditches at all?
No public ditches.
Okay.
They threw the private ditches out there a few months ago, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so there won't
Sounds
be
good.
any ditching out there.
So what kind of actions come next? Do we have to have this by next November, you said? 17.
17, right. So,
So
15
do we
months
have
or
to be
whatever.
applying, you will be applying for this grant, or?
I think it's just gonna be handed down
Okay.
to the counties, once the governor signs off on it. And the governor's gotta sign off on it. It's his project, so he shouldn't pick up at it at all. So, right, so that should get passed down through the counties. And then, what you folks want to give the whole thing to, you know, Rick and I can work it out, or whatever you guys see fit, you know. At that time, we plan on, once we have good direction after the 23rd of this month, I want to set up information meetings throughout Houston County. Initially, I was thinking Houston, Caledonia, and Hoka, but once we start doing this inventory, you know, maybe Hoka's pretty good shape, let's move it towards Wilmington or something. So we'll get a little bit better idea where to have these meetings to inform the public on what's going on. At that point, you know, I'm surprised we haven't seen a rush of people coming in, signing up for CRP yet, because once November 1st, 2017 comes, they're not eligible for CRP. Unless the state says that's an alternative practice. You know, if CRP is an alternative practice, you can sign up for it at any time. That date might get pushed back a little bit, but that's to come yet, so. But, yeah, that, you know, that's the timeline I'm thinking, is get the word out. We have a 3-ring binder with all the landowners in it, who's in compliance, who's out. We can send out letters, inform them, contact us if you need some technical advice or whatever. Install it on your own. You know, pretty straightforward. So.
Conservation tour date is again what?
Yep, that's July 22nd.
And who do we
It's a
contact to
Friday.
RSVP?
Right, I can give this to Shar too.
We actually all have them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mine's
you
on my
still have them?
briefcase,
Yep, there's 2 email addresses there for RSVP, so.
Open to the public or?
No, just an invite only.
Okay.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep, so, I know there'll be a dinner and, I call it supper, lunch and dinner, dinner and supper, so, yeah, it's gonna be you know, ours is usually 4 hours
Yeah.
in 2-hour office, but this is gonna be more of a longer morning, afternoon, so.
Last year's tour was excellent. You know,
Thank you, yeah,
I liked it.
yep.
Very informative.
Yeah.
And it's well worth taking.
Yeah,
Very
yep.
well worth
I
taking.
think this is be well put together as well, too, so. Yeah, good stuff.
If we all go, do we have to post that for the meeting?
I don't think this is an informative deal, it's just like
Right,
going to a
right, just like
conference.
going to any other
Yeah.
conference.
Just check.
Perfect. Anything else?
So where are they doing the 5 o'clock, the dinner at?
Right, that's going to be near Brattsburg, just
Okay.
across.
Island Church.
Right, is that near
Yeah.
Brattsburg?
Yep.
Very good, right there by Johnson
Right
Rolling
behind.
Hills.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very good. So, yeah. And you're more than welcome to give Cynthia or Steve a call too, if you have any other questions or whatever on who they invited or stuff like that. Perfect. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, have a great day.
You too. When you call in, she just wants to know where you're going to get on the bus.
Okay,
They just want to make sure that they know who's going and where they're getting on.
okay.
I was wondering how they were gonna get back, though. I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
'Cause it ended up in Brattsburg. Then they were going to Rochester from there. Sounds like they're gonna get a way of getting us back to our
Mhm.
cars.
Did the highway department building, did you guys have a meeting or anything to report?
Nothing to report. We had a brief meeting, and we will continue to meet today. I believe Brian's going to be around.
Can you
Okay.
mention the 21st or something meeting again, that email or whatever, with us? Did you get that?
Unless I didn't open it. 21st is what now?
That's
he said-
next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday, the 21st.
Okay,
instead of today.
Okay.
instead of today. Oh, 2
Yeah,
weeks, that's
hold
right.
on
Yeah,
before
yeah.
I might misspoke, so. Yeah, let's plan a meeting Tuesday, the 21st, right after the board meeting.
Okay.
got that date. Is that July?
No, that,
Is that next Monday?
it's July, I believe.
Okay.
Our
That's
Board of
okay.
Equalization said June?
Yep,
Yeah.
June
So
It
next-
is June.
Next Monday?
It's next Monday night.
Okay.
We,
6
Yeah.
o'clock, right here.
that's ahead.
Yep.
I didn't know if it was June or July.
Nope, I had June too.
Is there anything else that needs to come before the board? Our closed session doesn't start until 10:15. So would you guys like to?
20-minute recess?
20-minute recess? Motion to recess?
Yeah,
For
move
20
to
minutes?
recess for 20 minutes.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, that's,
Out of recess?
I'll make a motion to come out of recess.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, at this time, we will be canceling our request for a closed session. And I do have a couple of agenda items I do need to address with you with regards to the sheriff's office. Sheriff, if you wish to come forward, you may. For your consideration, we have a resignation by a jailer dispatcher. Resignation would be effective immediately. This would be a resignation from a probationary employee, Daniel Henson Schrader. And we respectfully request that you accept Ms. Schrader's resignation of employment effective today.
Do we have a motion to accept the resignation?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Additionally, we have a resignation from a lead jailer, a Mr. Kevin Walter. It would be effective immediately. For your consideration, we're recommending the board accept Mr. Walter's resignation.
Is there a motion to accept his resignation?
Move to accept the resignation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thirdly, we have a resignation from a 67-day seasonal employee who has accepted full-time employment elsewhere. And that would be effective immediately, is that correct, Sir Sheriff? Deputy Darren DeVoe, D-A-V-E-A-U. And so at this time, we, actually, because he's a temporary seasonal resignation, is not your approval of his resignation is not required. Because his scheduling's at the discretion of the sheriff. Being a 67-day employee, we don't guarantee hours, but I wanted to make you aware of it. It impacts our next request. At this time, we would like approval to go forward to look at our recent pool of 67-day temporary applicants that we had for the temporary deputies. And it's rather recent. I don't, at this time, feel we need to be advertising further. So with that, with your approval, the sheriff will go forward with that. Do you have any comments about it? I think it's likely we still have adequate resources in that pool of applicants.
For the 67-day employee.
For the 67-day sheriff's deputy. Okay. And we will bring that forward to you as soon as the person is identified.
Okay.
Okay. Secondly, with regards to filling positions, we respectfully request that the board approve our ability to go forward and search for a jailer dispatcher due to the recent resignation. We do have a recent pool of applicants we would like to look at, so there wouldn't be any additional search costs, but we do ask that the board approve filling that position at this time.
Is there a motion?
From the,
From our current pool of
Current pool.
applicants, because we have a rather recent, within the last 3 months.
so you don't have to start a new search at all. We can go with what we,
It is our choice, but I believe we will not, as the equal opportunity officer, I do not believe that a second round of advertising is necessarily going to result in a significantly different pool of applicants.
okay.
So I believe we should exhaust our resources out of that pool first.
So do we have a motion to go forward with that?
I'll make a motion to go with the search.
Is there a
in the
second?
Current pool.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Similarly, for our lead jail position, we've recently had a competitive advertising, competitive hire process that resulted in a pool of applicants that I believe we can revisit and determine if there is a successful applicant out of that pool for lead. With your permission and approval, we'd like to go forward and do that.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to go with our pool of applicants.
Is there a
for the lead
second?
jailer.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Sheriff, is there anything else that we need?
Are you at the same time going to go forward? Do you want something down like we did the last time so that if someone from the regular jailers gets lead jailer, that we start to fill that one right away too, or not?
Actually, yeah, we probably would, because the applicants that are currently on the lead will be current employees.
That said, I'm requesting that we amend your approval for one jailer, FTE jailer dispatcher. And so for the motion requested would be up to 2 FTE jailers. And of course, we'd come back, we'd have, you wouldn't be adding an FTE. We'd come back with full explanation of our higher recommendations at that time, but up to 2 FTE.
And have we
dispatchers.
hired jailers? I just can't remember that are out of that pool.
Last week, we did, yes.
Okay.
And we have another potential hire out of that pool that we are waiting for the background check on.
Okay.
That we would have brought to you today, however, that isn't quite completed yet.
Two candidates during this current hiring pool, 2 candidates had background issues, we'll say, and we're now starting a 3rd candidate's background actually today.
The due diligence can take a bit of time, so.
Mhm.
And that is all I have for you today, Commissioners.
Thank you.
That's it.
Is there any other business to come before the board?
That I'm aware of. Nope.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.